As you guys know, I'm relatively new to the fighting game scene. The first fighting game I took seriously was Guilty Gear Strive, which I've been playing for a little over a year now. But before I played Strive, there were a bunch of random fighting games. Injustice 2, Tekken 8, Under Night, and a few others. But there's one fighting game that I always come back to, and that's Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. And it's kind of funny because before I really got into fighting games, I didn't even like this game all that much. I was still in my fighting games aren't for me stage. So a game like P4AU felt extremely overwhelming to me. It still kinda is, but now that I actually understand fighting games a little more, I want to come back and see if Persona 4 Arena Ultimax hits differently in 2026. And after playing it again, yeah, this game is still just as hard as when I played it before. I came back to the game thinking if Strive would prepare me, and it in fact did not. I played the game for about an hour, lost 16 games in a row, got a certain achievement, and somehow I wasn't even aggravated. Before we get into the video, I would just like to say thank you guys again, because we're way past 150 subs, and I swore I just hit 100 subs like 2 weeks ago. Thank you guys for the support thus far, and we're closer to my goal of 200 subs by the end of 2026. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. After waiting for the game to reinstall and being blessed with the best Persona opening in the series, I did what any sane person would do, look up a tier list. No, but seriously, I went right to the combo challenges and tried out some characters to see who I'd be interested in playing. Now this is where my first issue with the game comes in. All the characters feel fun. It's more of a me issue if anything, but I love this series so much. This game has characters from Persona 3 and Persona 4, including 3 new original characters. I did narrow down my choices down to about 4 characters. Now Toshiro Gane. She is a pseudo-zoner rushdown character who has good normals and relies on her persona to deal damage and interact with her meter. The second you get her meter down to 0, she can do this little funny thing called one-shotting you. In exchange for all that though, she has a very low effective HP compared to other characters. Not to mention she has to manage her bullets and she relies heavily on meter usage. Mitsuru Kirijo. She's a mid-range demon who boasts great normals. She's a rushdown character relying on strike throw mix, meaning once the enemy starts blocking, it's game over. She's also relying on charge inputs, which I've learned to love due to another character in a different fighting game. In exchange for her strong neutral presence, her buttons have high recovery if you miss them, and she has very committal offense. Ken Amada and Koromaru, a puppet character. He's similar to Mitsuru, where Ken himself has an insane neutral presence, where Koromaru can be used during block strings for crazy block pressure. As most puppet characters go, he does rely on Koromaru, so when he goes down, you're fucked. He's also on the lower side of the health pool like Naoto, but Ken is also more execution heavy. Once I get past those hurdles, I could probably get a handle of him. Rise Kujikawa. She can be played as a rushdown, set play, or zoner archetype. She's heavily reliant on her projectiles via her move Rakyu, which can be used to set up mix from high, low, left, right, and strike throw. You could probably guess what her weaknesses are. Execution. She's very execution heavy, and neutral Rise is slower to start up, and she's also extremely reliant on her persona. Now you're probably wondering, who did you end up picking? Let's not act like this choice wasn't obvious from the start. Now you're also probably wondering, how do you play her in neutral? How do you set up note Oki? What do you do after the notes are set up? Well, it's not like I'd know, I went straight into online matches. As stated previously, I didn't really do any kind of practice with Rise and just went straight into fighting opponents online, quickly realizing that I was trying to queue to online matches for a 4-year-old game. I joined the P4AU Fight Club, a server for the leftover dedicated fanbase of the game to chill out and play sets against each other. Shortly after joining, I asked for some practice sets, and in less than 5 minutes, someone had agreed to fight against me. Now viewer discretion is advised for the next section because you're about to bear witness to an ass whooping of unseen levels. But now that that's out of the way, you know, maybe I should have practiced before I went online. The set ended at around 16-0. You heard me right. And to add salt to the wound, I got the nice burst achievement. Yeah, there's an achievement for getting burst red. But despite all that, despite getting absolutely destroyed, something was different. Different from Strive and even Ultra Rumble. I didn't mind the losses. Matter of fact, I actually had a good time. I'm not sure if it was because this is a Persona game or because I'm still new to the game, but losing didn't really bother me all that much. After playing those matches, I did notice a couple differences between this game and my main fighting game, Guilty Gear Strive. First things first, Strive is definitely way easier compared to Persona 4 Arena. As much as I complain about Strive being a hard game to play, At least a lot of the time I can understand what's happening on my screen, unless you're fighting these demons. But from what I've experienced so far, the game is very chaotic in nature, and that applies to every character. There's always a lot happening on the screen since most characters have personas to use for offense as well as themselves. Mistakes can also feel way less forgiving in this game due to the game's pace, because this game is very fast. The speed also carries over to input speed and accuracy needed to perform the combos in this game. With this game, I also had to learn the new mechanics as well as a new kind of neutral game and such. In Strive, I'm usually fighting one character. In Persona 4 Arena, it feels like I'm fighting the character, their persona, and whatever projectile or setup they put on the screen 5 seconds ago. So sometimes it feels like I'm also fighting the game mechanics itself while learning how to play my character and fighting my opponent. And since the online community is smaller now, you're not really fighting other new players most of the time. You're fighting people who are stuck with the game, already understand the systems, and make it feel like they're playing a single player game. Nonetheless, the game is still very fun and stylish. It has its own certain flair to it. I have a soft spot for games in whatever style this game is called. I love this game's art style so much, it would take a lot for me to hate it. So yeah, this game is really hard. Extremely hard. But it's also kind of hard where I can tell there's something pretty cool underneath the difficulty. I'll just have to survive long enough. The next day I got on early and decided to actually do the responsible this time. Read Rise's Dust Loop page and practice some setups off knockdown. Now, did I fully understand what I was practicing? Absolutely not, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these setups I was trying weren't even true. But at the very least, I was trying to go into the next session with some kind of direction instead of just raw dogging online matches again. After about an hour in training mode, I asked for more sets, and once again I got a response almost instantly. He was a lot closer to me in skill level, so the matches weren't nearly as one-sided as the first session. And because of that, I had even more fun than I did last time. Instead of feeling like I was just getting completely mauled, it felt like both of us were figuring things out as the matches went on. I was still losing interactions, dropping things, and getting hit by stuff I didn't understand, but it felt way more playable. It felt less like I was drowning and more like I was slowly learning how to swim. During that session, I also got to try out a few more characters. I gave Naoto a shot, and unfortunately, I don't think she fits my playstyle. Her one-shot gimmick is hilarious, and I still think she's a really cool character, but the way she wants to operate in-game doesn't feel like me. Then I tried Ken and Koromaru, and my god, they are fun. I'll admit, puppet characters are extremely hard to use, so it took me a while to even get comfortable with his inputs. But once I started getting a small grasp on how Ken and Koromaru work together, I could definitely see the appeal. He's probably not someone I'd fully commit to right now, but he's absolutely a character I want to mess around with more. But there was one more character I tried. A character I haven't even really talked about in the video. Yukiko Amagi. Holy shit, she's fun. Yukiko's a zoner who relies on her persona moves and fire attacks to control space and set up Oki with her Agi moves. She also has a boost level that increases the damage of her fire attacks by 10% for each level, going all the way up to level 9. And I'm gonna be honest, I did not expect to like the character this much. She just made the game easier to digest for me. Instead of feeling like every match was a scramble fest where I had no idea what was going on, Yukiko gave me a clear game plan. Control space, use fire, make them approach, and then try to set something up when I get the chance. And weirdly enough, playing Yukiko actually helped me understand Rise more, because after playing a character with a more straightforward zoning game plan, I started to understand the pace of the game itself. I had a slightly better grasp on Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, and because of that, Rise became even more fun. After playing Yukiko for about 2 hours, I went back to Rise and felt some difference. At first, Rise felt extremely overwhelming. This was mainly because I didn't understand what to do with her kit, not because I thought she sucked or anything. She has projectiles and she has crazy setups. Not to mention she's versatile at almost all ranges, which makes her sound amazing. On paper, of course. But when you're new to the game, that can be very overwhelming. With Yukiko, you have a simple game plan. Control space with her Agi skills, make them approach, and set something up whenever you get the chance. She gave me a clearer lens to see the game through. She helped me better understand positioning and persona usage. So when I eventually did go back to Rise, I wasn't just pressing buttons hoping something would work out. I started to understand how her projectiles work and how her notes work as well as when to use them. I still don't know how to perfectly play Rise, if at all. I mean, it's my first week on the game, what did you expect? But at least now I can see the vision. When I first told people I was going to play Rise, I got a lot of good lucks or yeah, have funs. I think what they meant was that she's a commitment to play. You have to understand knockdown, how to set up notes, and how to keep pressure going. Which I know how to do, just not in this Arxis game. But honestly, all these difficulties unironically make me want to play her more. Rise is still the character I want to invest in. Yukiko helped me understand the game, but Rise is the character that makes me want to keep learning it. So yeah, I'm probably going to keep suffering playing the character, but at least I'll have a clear path of said suffering to reach the goal. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot this was supposed to be a review like midway through the script. But anyways, would I recommend Persona 4 Arena Ultimax and the Big 26? Well, yes and no. If you like Persona and you like fighting games, I'd recommend it. If you've never played Persona but like fighting games, I'd still play it. If you hate fighting games, I wouldn't suggest playing this one till you dip your toes in a little bit. Honestly, just play Guilty Gear first and come back when the fighting game brain rot has fully developed in your brain. And that's not because P4AU is bad, it's actually the complete opposite. This game is sick. The presentation is great, the characters feel unique, and seeing Persona characters translated into a fighting game is genuinely cool. The issue is that this game feels like it was made for people who already have some level of fighting game knowledge. There are so many systems being thrown at you between Persona cards, bursts, awakening, shadow characters, instant kills, assists, status effects, and whatever the hell Rise does. So if this is your first fighting game, you're probably going to boot it up, get hit by Narukami's 5B once, and wonder why you're suddenly watching a full anime episode of yourself getting comboed into hell. If you're willing to go into Persona 4 Arena Ultimax confused, be my guest, I'm not going to stop you. It's just my personal recommendation. The game still has a lot to offer regardless if you like fighting games or not. If you want a smooth beginner experience with a fighting game to learn the ropes, I wouldn't recommend this game. I will say the community can be very helpful, but some of the other things like Persona usage and system mechanics might be a tad harder to grasp without at least a little bit of prior experience. P4AU is fun, but it is very much a you either get infected by that nonsense or bounce off immediately type of game. If you're a Persona fan, this game is 100% worth playing. The presentation is amazing. From the music and the characters, this game is great. Seeing the Persona 3 and Persona 4 characters interact with each other is definitely a delight for longtime fans of the series. As a fighting game, this game also does its job. It's fast yet chaotic at times. The mechanics could feel overwhelming for newer players to the genre, and it can be a little harder to get a grasp of since sometimes you're going to have to wait in the Discord server for someone to accept matches. All that really means though is that learning the game in 2026 is going to take more effort than it would for more popular fighting games. But ironically enough, I think that's the part I enjoyed the most. I went into this game thinking my experience with Strive would make the transition easier, and it did help a little bit, but P4AU is its own beast entirely. I got washed, I got humbled, I even got an achievement for bursting badly, and somehow my main takeaway was still, yeah, I want to play this game more. So yeah, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is hard. It's unforgiving, it's not the easiest game to recommend to someone who just wants casual matchmaking. But if you love Persona and you like stylish anime fighters, I think there's something really special here. And that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you've played Persona 4 Arena before, and if you have, who did you play? Also, if you have any other Rise tips, please send help, because I'm absolutely going to need it. Follow my TikTok, join my Discord, and check out my Twitch, because we're streaming every other Saturday starting next week. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Persona Man out. So can we